Mortal Kombat 1 is NetherRealm Studios' latest attempt to soft reboot the series, released in 2023. I'm a huge fan of the franchise, have been since I was a young warthog. So I was excited to play this when it came out, but I felt disappointed after playing. With them just releasing all the DLC into a bundle, and no plans to make more, this seemed like a perfect time to jump back in and see what's changed. So was this game worth revisiting? Let's find out. We will start with the gameplay and I'll talk about the story and its expansion towards the end of the video. Firstly, I'm decent at MK games. I'm not amazing, therefore more of a casual, so that'll be my point of view for what I say. It plays like the other recent Mortal Kombat games, for the most part. It's one-on-one fights where you can punch, kick and do crazy super moves. It feels very fun to play. When hits land you can really feel the impact, with blood getting spilled with each one. Combos are very satisfying to land. Special moves are easy enough to pull off compared to other fighting games. Compared to MK11, combat feels faster, but still not as fast as MKX. The controls are very responsive. It's very pick up and play compared to games like Street Fighter or Tekken, which might lead people to think it's not very deep or complex, but that's not the case. There are lots of mechanics and techniques you can use to help gain you the advantage, like being able to use your meter at the bottom of the screen. You can use this meter to make certain attacks more powerful, or change what they do slightly. So for Scorpion Spear Throw, instead of just pulling them towards you, use a bit of your meter to add an attack onto the end of it. Or use your meter to immediately break out of a combo being performed on you. There's also the Fatal Blow. When your health gets to about 25%, you'll have a chance to perform one. This is a devastating attack that will do 35% damage in one go. You can only use it once per match. It will also play a very violent animation where you can see x-rays of characters, bones breaking and insides getting smashed. Exciting and fun to watch, but you can get sick of them quite quickly. You will see these a lot. They were introduced in MK9, you have to use your whole meter to use one. Then in MK11 they changed it to only being available when your health is low, but you only have one chance to use it. I'm fine with both of these ways. In the MK9 way, a more casual player has a way of evening the odds, where a more advanced player will use the meter for other things. In MK11 it's a last chance type of thing, making it really satisfying and crucial to pull it off. My problem with how it is handled in MK1 is they got rid of the one chance thing. If you miss, wait a few seconds and you can try again. This will lead you to almost always seeing one of these x-ray animations every match, especially if you stick to one character. The AI will always try to trigger one if you give them a chance. They also feel a lot longer than they were in the other games. NetherRealm are always trying to change up the combat with each game. In MKX it was character variations, in this one it's the cameo system. Myself and others are not a big fan of the system. Basically you can call an assist character to perform some extra moves. It does add a layer of strategy to the game. You can pull off some cool combos with help from them. I think the issue why a lot of the audience don't like them is because most players are going to use them. It will say under your health press the right bumper to use your cameo. So most people will press it to see what it does. This will lock your character in place, you'll then watch your cameo run in, more than likely miss an attack, leading you to getting hit. This is what will happen for first time players, putting them off using this mechanic. Cameos are supposed to be used in a combo, this is when they are most likely to land a hit. Not all cameos are about hitting the opponents, some can give you a buff. I usually forget I have cameos and just play like every other MK game. I think this mechanic would feel a lot better if you could still move around whilst they're active, but I imagine that would break the balance of the game. Moving on to finishers, because this is Mortal Kombat after all, you can end a match in a bunch of different ways. You got the iconic fatalities which are as brutal and violent as ever, some are very creative and a spectacle to watch, some are obviously better than others. They definitely put a lot of time into guest characters' fatalities. There are also cameo fatalities and animalities. Cameo ones are where your cameo fighter will perform a fatality instead of you. Animalities are where the character will turn into an animal and kill your opponent. Then there are my favourite, brutalities. These may not be as cinematic as fatalities, but are way more satisfying to pull off. During the match you'll have to meet certain requirements in order to be able to finish with brutality. This can be stuff like land 3 ice blasts as Sub-Zero during the match. Then your final hit must come from an ice blast, but press down twice whilst it's happening. This will kill your opponent with a fatal ice blast. The most common one you can do is the uppercut one. Your final hit has to come from an uppercut, and you will knock your opponent's head clean off. I perform this a lot, not often on purpose. All these extra ways to end a match are what helps MK stand out from other fighting games. In games like Street Fighter or Injustice, you'll have to watch the same victory animation over and over, which gets very tiresome. If anyone has ever played as Batman in Injustice 1 for a long time, him saying "stay down" and retreating to his gargoyle is probably etched into your brain. There is a lot of characters to choose from. They all have different movesets and roles to play, so some are more of a rushdown whilst others can be zoners. They may have different moves, but they all perform similar to each other. A lot of characters will have a special move where it's left-right attack. I like this as it doesn't take ages to get used to a new character. All characters besides the guest ones are returning from other MK games, with a focus on the 3D era, which is what I grew up playing. So this was a real treat for me seeing a lot of old faces return. I found enjoyment in all the characters. My favourite will always be Scorpion, but it did surprise me how much fun I had with Raiko. Everyone has been updated visually but still looks recognisable. The ninjas all look great, Reptile's look being my favourite. The only one I really dislike is Shao. I'm not a big fan of the horn sticking out of his head. MK has always been beginner friendly. It's especially true for MK1. It has a lot of neat features that other games should follow. It has your typical practice mode where you are free to try and learn combos and moves. Practice mode has a lot of options in it to suit what you are going for. Like how aggressive do you want the CPU to be if you want him to move or stand still. MK1 has a very in-depth training mode, where it will teach you the mechanics of the games and force you to do them to make sure you understand what you've just learned. There is a training mode for each of the characters as well. Extremely useful for learning characters. These are totally optional as well, but if you do them you get some rewards, which is a plus. The game will also tell you some of the special moves when you pause a match, which is nice if it's your first time playing as a character. In this game they have the ability to tag any moves on the move list, so they will appear under your health bar. This is a great feature as it means you don't have to keep pausing to look at moves. Where the game starts to let me down is in the content. I've always been a single player MK fan, I don't play online. There's just not as much here for me compared to the other games. You have your classic towers where you'll fight through a number of enemies and get an ending for your character. I like how in this game all of the endings seem like they were canon. Some tie into each other and hint what could take place in the sequel. Which is a nice change. In previous games, endings often felt like a what if scenario. Which could be cool but also felt like a bit of a waste of the time. Then there are the Towers of Time. These have been downgraded from the other games. You used to have hourly, daily and weekly towers. Now there's only hourly. They don't feel as fun as they used to. The towers used to have these crazy modifiers that ramped up the higher up the tower you got. Like the ground would shake every so often or mines would be placed on the floor. In this game I sometimes don't even notice there are modifiers. There is no test your luck, which used to be my favourite. They seem to have put all their focus into invasions mode. This is a big board you can move your character around. You will land on spaces and get into quick one round fights. There can also be random challenges like survive 30 seconds whilst dodging beams. Or there's this one where you have to have a standoff and be the first one to perform a specific move. Your goal is to move around the board till you get to the end where you'll fight a boss. Lots of rewards can be found in this mode. It's just not super fun. It gets repetitive fast and is quite slow to get through. Moving around the board takes time. I'd rather just have a big tower to fight through. The rewards aren't good either. It's normally just colour swap costumes for random characters. The board will change every few weeks as well because this game wants to be a live service type. This is where the game really started to let me down. You will earn seasonal currency by finishing fights and towers that you can spend in the seasonal store. You have till the end of the season to get these items. The items just aren't very good though. Each season has a theme based on who is invading. The first one was Scorpion, so all the items in the store were fire themed. This translated to every outfit you could unlock being red, orange and yellow. They're not even outfits, they're just colour swaps. Then there was the Nintara season, so all the items were red and black. This just wasn't interesting to me. I'm the type of guy where Sub-Zero has to be wearing blue or blue accents, so unlocking a red outfit for him just feels wrong. I would be fine if with the seasonal store if I had cool new outfits and not just palette swaps for everyone. But these outfits are saved for the premium store. These are unlocked with dragon crystals, which are super slow to earn in game, but you can net some with real money. This fucking sucks. The best outfits, like characters' MK3 outfits, are basically locked behind an expensive paywall. They are very overpriced and the store rotates every day, making you think if I don't buy them now, I might not get a chance to. It's just greedy. The premium store also sells easy fatalities because people sometimes struggle to perform them, so they wanted to help us out. Isn't that nice of them? If you want to help us out, why not just make them for free? Or if you buy them once, you can do easy fatalities forever instead of just 10 times. But then they wouldn't make as much money. Because there is a premium store, that means there's no crypt for you to unlock stuff in. The only thing you can spend the coins you've earned on is a slot machine in the main menu, where you get one random item for every 1,000 coins. This obviously isn't as fun as the crypt. If the game didn't have a premium store, they could have put all these cool outfits and rewards into the invasion mode, which would actually make me want to play that mode, instead of shitty colour swaps. I don't blame NetherRealm for this, I'm sure it was just Warner Brothers being greedy. There is a good game here, I just don't have any reason to keep playing it. This is why I was so disappointed with the game. I wasn't disappointed, however, with the story mode. The story mode is way better than I remembered. I didn't enjoy it too much my first time playing it, but replaying it for this video has changed my mind. Cutscenes are very well shot and staged. It really feels like you're watching a really long movie. Action is fun when it happens, characters are well acted, everyone gives a stellar performance, no one felt stiff. Except for Megan Fox. She doesn't have many lines, but all of her delivery is just awful. How many more copies did they sell just because Megan Fox was in it? Not many, I would imagine. Same as Ronda Rousey in MK11. Stop putting in celebrities that can't voice act Ed Boon. I think I didn't enjoy the story much the first time because I was expecting this to be a reboot, which I was ready for. Going into it this time, I knew it was more of a sequel to 11 than they were marketing. There's still a lot of plot contrivances and stupid decisions being made by characters. There's some stuff I'm not a big fan of. I think for the next game they need to rethink how story mode works. How it works in this game is how it's worked in NetherRealm games since MK9. You get a different character to play as for each chapter. Each chapter is only about 4 fights long. This is so if you're new to the game, you can start with this mode and try out a few different characters. Which was fine for the first few games, but it's starting to hurt the story for me now. They have to come up with some random events to happen to justify your character getting into 4 or more fights in a row. They also have to come up with a way for your character to end up alone so they can fight one on one. In this game it's 2 on 2 because of the cameo system. You have to win these fights. Your character is really good at combat for these fights, but when you're not playing as them they lose every fight. It makes the story feel predictable and hurts the pace. We could just swap to the character that makes sense to win the fight now. So instead of showing us a big group fight, then only having one character win, you could swap between characters in that group. I think people would adjust to playing as different characters each fight. You would also get to play as more characters in the same time. Maybe you could play as the baddies for a fight or two, instead of it always being the good guys. They also have to find a way to get your character onto the left side of the screen, which doesn't annoy me, just something funny to keep an eye out for. Anyway, let's get into the story. Go to this time code to skip. At the end of MK11, Liu Kang becomes the Keeper of Time. He gets to make a new timeline where he controls what destiny characters have. His goal is to make the most peaceful timeline, where Shang Tsung has basically become a snake oil salesman instead of a powerful sorcerer like before. This was Liu Kang's doing. This is where a problem for me arises. Why didn't Liu Kang just make it so Shang Tsung was never born? Same for Shao Kahn. Why take the risk of having them about? It's worse in Shao Kahn's case as he's the general of Outworld's army this time around. Like, why would you let this happen? Shao is an evil bastard in this timeline. Could Liu Kang not make him nice, or can he not change how people are? The way he talks about it, he created everything and put people where they are. He also created the tournament again. Why risk having it so Outworld can invade if they win? I'm clearly overthinking it. Shang Tsung gets enlisted by Kronika, who should be dead but is clearly up to something. We are then introduced to the new Kung Lao and Raiden, who are best friends who train in martial arts together. I don't like seeing Raiden young with hair, I'm too used to the old design. They both end up at Madame Beau's restaurant, who I think might be the new Bo Raicho, which is a drastic change, but they do share similarities, if my theory is true. Whilst there, the Lin Kuei show up to extort Madame Bo for protection money. This is where we are introduced to Sub-Zero, Scorpion and Smoke. Kung Lao and Raiden protect Madame Bo by fighting off the ninjas. Whilst fighting Sub-Zero, Kung Lao throws his hat at him, which does nothing, and a sharp circle thing, which cuts Sub-Zero. This is where he gets the idea for his iconic hat. We will see similar origins for other characters' things throughout the game. After the ninjas are defeated, Liu Kang shows up and tells them this was a test. Madame Bo has been training them for this. He reveals the ninjas are in fact protectors of Earthrealm, and he is in fact a fire god. Which got me thinking, so is there no god of thunder in this timeline? Was there a god of fire in the old timeline? There's a god of wind? Anyway, Liu Kang takes them to the Wu Chi Academy so they can train for the tournament. I like this intro. You'll think the ninjas are bad guys in this new timeline, so it's a nice surprise when you find out that they're the good guys. First Liu Kang must pick up Johnny Cage and Kenshi. Johnny is basically the same as he was in the old timeline, he's still a movie star. When we were introduced to him, he was filming an Indiana Jones knockoff, which was fun to play through even if it went on for slightly too long. After filming, Johnny is at his mansion where his wife has just left him because he is spending money they don't have. He spent $3 million on Sento, a sword. After she leaves, Kenshi shows up to steal the sword. He says it's his family's legacy. He needs the sword so he can fight back against the Yakuza who he was forced to join. Johnny beats him and ties him up. Liu Kang then shows up and convinces both of them to come with him. A few months have gone by at the academy. Liu Kang now needs to pick a chosen one to fight in the tournament. It's actually just one person versus like 8 of Outworld's people. Nice throwback to the original MK. Raiden wins and becomes Earthrealm's chosen one. There is a nice attention to detail where you can't use Raiden's electric moves because he hasn't learnt them yet. This will also happen to other characters later on, which I liked. This is where the story started to bother me my first time playing. This was supposed to be a big reboot. Characters are meant to get different origins, events are meant to play out differently, but so far it's basically the same as the old timeline, except Liu Kang and Raiden have swapped places, Johnny and Kung Lao are the same characters as before. There's a competition to decide if Outworld can invade. I was hoping for a big shake up to the MK universe, but it's really not that different from before. It might have been on me because I was expecting too much to change, but what's the point of rebooting if you're not going to go for some big swings? After winning, Liu Kang gives Raiden an amulet that gives him his electric powers. Liu Kang says this will level the playing field as Outworld combatants use magic. So has Liu Kang not taught them how to fight against magic attacks? What has he been teaching them? When Raiden uses his power, Johnny references that it looks like the Ark of the Covenant opening from Raiders. Bear with me on this, Nazis are the bad guys in that film, so they must exist in this timeline, which means World War II happened. So Liu Kang is responsible for World War II happening. What a dick move. Next we are in Outworld to fight in the competition. The gang meets Empress Sindel and her 2 daughters Kitana and Melina, along with General Shao. It feels wrong not saying Khan at the end. Liu Kang rewrote the timeline but put 3 villains in charge of Outworld. Raiden wins all of his fights. In between we learn Shao doesn't like Earthrealm, go figure, and that Melina is suffering from a disease which has to be treated by Shang Tsung. Geras, the Guardian of the Hourglass, meets up with Liu Kang to tell him Shang Tsung is not following his destiny. Which shouldn't be possible. Why didn't Geras tell him this info sooner? Shang Tsung has been off this path for a while now, like what the fuck man? Geras tells him Shang Tsung is in the Empress's ear, which defo isn't good, so Liu Kang sends Johnny, Kung Lao and Kenshi to find Shang Tsung. He gives them a tracker to do so. The tracker takes them to a village where Shang Tsung is forcibly taking samples from the Tarkatans. This is where Baraka shows up, whose design hasn't changed since the 90s because it's peak. Shang Tsung manages to slip away when he sees the gang. Baraka explains that being a Tarkat is a disease in this timeline. It's no longer a race. I like this change as it opens up a lot of story opportunities for the future. It makes me more sympathetic to the race. The further along they are, the more feral and crazed they get. It's cool. It affects Baraka a lot more slowly than the others. Baraka is a bit of a family man this time around. He just wants to protect his family, which is why he helps you go after Shang Tsung. He points you in the direction of his lab. The lads sneak in and see Melina knocked out on a table, with Shang Tsung about to inject her with something. The lads assume he's infecting her with Tarkat, so they jump in to save her. They found out too late that Shang Tsung was actually trying to cure her. She wakes up crazed in full Tarkat mode and fights everyone. She ends up stabbing Kenshi in both his eyes before Shang Tsung can inject her, so that's the origin for his blindness in this timeline, which is fine for now. I hope this starts a bit of a rivalry between Kenshi and Melina. If it doesn't, there won't seem like much reason for Melina being the one to take his eyes. Honestly, I don't think this will go anywhere in the future, as the two work together later on, which is a shame. Shao and Kitana show up and arrest the lads for attacking their sister. Quan Chi shows up and says to Kitana, Shao and Shang Tsung that this is all proof that his prophecy of Earthrealm invading is real. After Kitana leaves with Melina, Shao, Quan Chi and Shang Tsung have a chat about how everything is going to plan. The lads wake up behind bar in Shang Tsung's labs. Reptile is the jailer. He is being forced to do this because if he doesn't, Shang Tsung will kill his family. Reptile shows he can shapeshift between being a human to his reptile form. I think he's way too handsome when he's a human. I don't think Reptile should be fuckable. He also explains at some point this is how Shang Tsung learned to shapeshift. They met on the road where people would pay money to see Reptile shapeshift in a type of freak show. A freak show in Outworld, imagine that. I like this backstory for Reptile, it ties into Shang Tsung, and can lead to an interesting rivalry in the future. I love it where characters in fighting games are interconnected, it really helps the world seem real and lived in. Reptile gives Kenshi some stuff for his eyes, Johnny puts it on some cloth and wraps it around his eyes. Now Kenshi looks like his classic self. Reptile lets the lads out to be eaten by Shang Tsung's experiments. Baraka manages to beat them all up including Reptile. This is where Shang Tsung appears, disappointing Reptile for failing at his job. He tells Reptile he's already killed his family because he doesn't like loose ends. Then disappears. Such a cold move. The room fills with gas and Baraka has to break down the door in a test your mic minigame, which I was totally not prepared for. I totally failed on purpose to see the death animation. The gang escaped to the living forest. It's nice to see the forest not look all creepy like it does in the previous games. The trees hold the soul of the dead inside them. Reptile agrees to join the gang in stopping Shang Tsung. Off in the distance they hear noises. It's Ashura killing demons. This is the first character that's a miss for me. She's a demon of the Nether Realm who must kill her demons with a sword in order to gain humanity. She used to work for Quan Chi but turned on him when she realised he wouldn't help her. It's a fine backstory and she looks cool even if she's missing her hat. She doesn't really add much to the story. It feels like she's just there to explain to the audience that Netherrealm exists. She joins the gang and leads them to Quan Chi. He is about to turn on a soul sucking machine. Johnny swaps souls with Kenshi because Kenshi saved his life earlier. Johnny wants Kenshi to stay out of the fight because of his injuries and to protect Sento. I do like the little bromance these two have developed. The gang, instead of trying to turn off the machine, decide to fight everyone around it. So inevitably, the machine turns on, sucking all the souls out of the trees, turning it into the living forest we all know and love. Quan Chi uses the collected souls to create Ermac, a powerful being that must obey Quan Chi. He also needs to put a mask on. He looks like Voldemort without one. Ermac kicks the gang's ass, so Kenshi feels like he must do something. He attacks Ermac and this awakens his sword. Sento holds the souls of his ancestors in it, allowing the sword to do some magical stuff like giving Kenshi the ability to see, sort of, and use Sentos telepathically. We should really switch to playing as Kenshi here for it to be the most effective, but this is Ashura's chapter, so Kenshi is the cameo. They both manage to defeat Ermac and Quan Chi. They turn off the Soul Sucker, freeing the souls. One decides to take revenge on Quan Chi and turns his skin white. I didn't think we needed an origin for Quan Chi's skin colour, but now we know. The gang needs to take Quan Chi to Liu Kang for questioning. This is where Baraka disappears from the story. He doesn't even say goodbye. The portal to Earthrealm's in the middle of town, and the gang are the most wanted people in Outworld. Fortunately for them, some type of festival's going on. They dress up in disguise to blend in. I thought this was a good plan, then Reptile is like, I'll create a distraction. He causes a big explosion, putting everyone on alert. It didn't seem like this part was necessary. Reptile can turn himself invisible so he won't get caught. He then gets caught. I think he's got Predator-like camo where you can still kinda see him at the right angle, but it looks like he just decided not to be invisible. He is forced to fight everyone they were trying to hide from. Quan Chi wakes up and manages to slip away because no one went after him, they just let him run off. The gang manages to go through the portal to meet Liu Kang. This is where Astra and Reptile basically leave the story. They are still about but don't do anything. A bit of a waste of their characters in my opinion. Johnny tries to tell Liu Kang about what's happened, but he's like, rest and eat. Brother, time may be of the essence, let him tell you what's happening. Johnny tells him Quan Chi and Shang Tsung have joined up. Liu Kang basically looks at the camera and says, Mortal Kombat 5, the Deadly Alliance? Liu Kang has a chat with Geras about what he has learnt. Geras shows him the sorcerer talking to Kronika. Geras, why did you not show him this when it happened? What are you doing all day? The man literally just watches an hourglass all day. They both agree it's not Kronika, as there is no way to resurrect a Titan. Press X to doubt. I'm sure a Titan will come back in a future game. They think it must be someone who must have survived the previous timeline, but who could it be? We are now on the Ninja chapter. Liu Kang sends Sub-Zero, Scorpion and Smoke to infiltrate Quan Chi's fortress to kill Shang Tsung and get info. In this chapter we learn that Sub-Zero and Scorpion are brothers and Smoke is their adopted brother, which might be a callback to the old games. They weren't brothers in those games but everyone thought they were. I say everyone, my dad thought they were, so I assume a lot of people thought it back in the arcade games. During their chats we see that Sub-Zero wants his clan to have more power and that he thought their father lacked vision. The other ninjas disagree. This is another issue I have. Sub-Zero is so obviously going to be a bad guy. He isn't even trying to be subtle. The ninjas scale the wall of their fortress using their different powers. Smoke flies up and Scorpion uses his rope. I'm fully aware this is a nitpick, but where the fuck did he throw his rope from to anchor it into that wall? He could have only thrown it from the bottom, which is one hell of a throw. How long is the fucking rope? Once inside, Smoke is told to make sure no one turns on the soul suckers. This is all he contributes to the story. He is very underused. Scorpion and Sub-Zero sneak inside. When I say sneak, they just hunch over and walk out in the open like it's a PS2 stealth game. Inside they get caught, shockingly. Shang Tsung manages to very easily convince Sub-Zero to join them. Sub-Zero tells Scorpion how he let their father die because he was weak. This pisses off Scorpion enough to break free in a cool action scene. Scorpion fights his way out. He manages to burn the face off Havoc during their fight, which I'm not a big fan of. Are they going to be rivals now? Will Havoc want revenge? I'd rather Havoc lost his face to someone more personal to him, rather than someone he just met. Just as Scorpion and Smoke are about to escape, Sub-Zero shows up to stop them. Sub-Zero manages to cut Scorpion's face. Older fans will recognise this as Sub-Zero's scar in the old timeline. This is because Scorpion in this timeline is Kuai Liang, not Hanzo Itachi. I have been waiting to talk about this. I'm not a big fan of this change. It's just confusing for the older fans. It's like giving Ryu blonde hair and a red gi in Street Fighter. What do we actually gain by making Scorpion just have old Sub-Zero's backstory? Hanzo Itachi is in this timeline. In one of the tower endings we find out he's a child being trained by Smoke and Scorpion. Like why? I know they want to shake things up for this game, I just can't see what this actually adds. Is Hanzo going to grow up really quickly to become Scorpion? Hopefully they can justify this in a future game. They manage to escape and tell Liu Kang what's going on. Liu Kang thinks he's going to need Outworld's help, so he goes to the Empress to convince her to help. The only way he can do this is by revealing he is the creator of this timeline. He proves this by showing Sindel flashbacks to the previous game. Shao interrupts with Shinnok's amulet. This is where I realise this is a straight up sequel to MK11. This amulet doesn't play a bigger part, it just feels like a random reference. After Shao runs away, Liu Kang gathers his allies at the fortress. On the way in, Mileena beats Ermac. This breaks the spell Quan Chi has over him. It turns out her father's soul was trapped inside Ermac. Now he is in control and agrees to help out. I'm fine with Ermac being a good guy now, it just seems a bit underdeveloped in this game. Everyone gets inside, they manage to beat Shang Tsung. This is when we find out who Kronika really is. Turns out it's Shang Tsung from MK11. At the end of that game's DLC you get to choose who you want to play as, Liu Kang or Shang Tsung, to get 2 different endings. This makes both endings canon. This was a really sick reveal. In one timeline Liu Kang created everything and in the other Shao Tsung did. The only thing that would have made this better is if Shang Tsung had the same actor's face as he did in 11. As it is the same character. He wants to take over this timeline and has even brought dark versions of characters to help him, like Dark Raiden, who has his old face model and outfit, which is just plain cool to see. Shang Tsung and Quan Chi join Liu Kang's team to escape, come up with a plan and stop Titan Shang Tsung. They theorise that if there are 2 timelines, there may be more, so Liu Kang goes to get more allies. He manages to summon Titan Katana. They have a lovely moment where they realise they are the same people from the previous game and kiss. More Titans show up to help. This must mean that every character ending in the towers of MK11 is canon, which is wild. Each character must have beat Kronika to become a Titan. Titan Shang Tsung interrupts to destroy Liu Kang's hourglass. This part annoys me. Titan Shang Tsung is shooting a beam at the hourglass, and instead of attacking him, they counter with their own beam at the hourglass to heal it. Just stop Shang Tsung first, what are we doing? After the allies from the other timelines have been gathered, everyone meets in Shang Tsung's timeline to stop him. This is one big reference to MK Armageddon. It is the same place from the beginning of that game. The game starts to get a bit crazy from here. You get to pick who you want to fight as from the whole base roster. You'll have to fight your way up the tower. You'll run into a bunch of mix-matched and gender-swapped characters. I've played this part 3 different times and have always had different characters show up, like a Sub-Zero Quan Chi mashup or a female Ermac. The only part that bothers me about this, there aren't any female to male characters. You won't see a male Mileena or Jade, which doesn't seem fair. There is also a part of me that worries this is what they're going to do for the next game, just gender swap and mash up characters, and that this was supposed to be like a test to get us used to the idea. I really hope this isn't the case. Anyway, you get to the top of the tower and manage to beat Titan Shang Tsung, saving all of the timelines. Liu Kang manages to turn him into sand, so hopefully he won't be coming back. The game ends with the lads celebrating Madame Bose, the end. For the most part I really enjoyed the story. It's fun, entertaining and gets wild towards the end. It's a shame characters just kinda disappear from the story halfway through, like Reptile, Asher and Baraka, like the writers didn't know what to do with them. Other than that, it's cool. I really hope this is the end of the timeline shenanigans. It's cool, but I'm pretty sick of it now. Let's just focus on the new timeline. NetherRealm Studios always tries to make the next game crazier than the last, but I don't think you can top all the timelines nearly being destroyed. I hope for the next game the stakes are way lower. There is an after credits scene hinting at the expansion, which I'm about to cover now. Khaos Regins is the only story expansion for this game. They planned for more, but after playing through this one I'm glad they stopped. The story felt like a waste of time. New characters are introduced. They're all incredibly one note and some are just plain annoying. Some cool action scenes happen, they get really creative with Havoc's abilities, but that's about it. Go to this timecode to skip. Let me break down what happens. The story starts off by introducing us to Sector and Cyrax, who have been gender swapped this time around because that makes them more interesting apparently. I'm obviously not a fan of gender swapping characters just for the sake of it. They are also not robots anymore, they just wear power armor. This change also sucks. In the old games, the Lin Kuei were forced into this cyber initiative. They are programmed to follow orders. It was cool and interesting when Cyrax breaks free of the programming and regrets becoming a robot. This can't happen in the new timeline now, they can just take off the suits. I'm fine with them changing stuff, but why change it so it's less intriguing? It's like they went, the kids love Iron Man, why do we make the robots like him? Great idea, Ed, also let's make them women. They even pay homage to the inside of the helmet view from Iron Man. Their faces also look kinda off when their helmets are lifted up. It looks like they put the faces on after they made the body, it just doesn't fit right. Especially Sector, it doesn't help she pulls some questionable faces. Sector and Cyrax play the same roles they did in the old games. Sector is loyal to the Lin Kuei and Cyrax starts questioning its methods. Why have a new timeline if they're just going to do the exact same thing? Sector is very unlikable in this story. She is so arrogant and thinks she's the best at fighting. She doesn't develop over the story. They both work for Sub-Zero, they are his best guys apparently. Scorpion and him have both known him for a long time. Sub-Zero is planned to attack Scorpion at his wedding. This backfires for Sub-Zero when his men try to kill Scorpion's wife. Cyrax steps in and says, "This is not the way." Scorpion then tells her that it was in fact Sub-Zero that killed their father, and he framed Scorpion for it. Sub-Zero and Sector didn't even try to deny it, so Cyrax manages to beat them in combat because we're playing as her. She then asks Scorpion to kill her for betraying him. He is stopped by his wife. They then take Sub-Zero and Sector to be judged by Empress Melina and Liu Kang, but they are interrupted by a portal opening. A detached head comes through the portal and the rest of the body comes in to pick up and reattach it. A strange way to introduce yourself, but very cool. It's our boy Havoc. He has come to kidnap Geras so he can merge the timelines to cause chaos, killing millions. He manages to do this because everyone decides not to protect Geras and instead fight the fodder enemies. Sub-Zero breaks his handcuff by freezing them. No one thought he could do that, I guess. He then jumps in the portal after Havoc. The portal closes behind him. Liu Kang makes a plan to send Scorpion, Cyrax and Sector after them. He doesn't want to send everyone else in case Shao tries to attack, which is just a nice excuse for us to play as the new characters. Sector agrees to this because saving Sub-Zero is her priority over their feud. Liu Kang sends the group to the Chaos timeline, where they immediately run into a soldier Johnny Cage and a Rain. They are rebelling against Havoc's control here. They also know the way to get to Geras, which is very convenient. The gang needs to rescue Rain's wife Tanya. She knows how to navigate Havoc's base. This is where Rain becomes one note. All of his lines are just him simping over Tanya, which I wasn't a fan of. Tanya has been held in an arena. This is where lots of Havocs watch people fight to the death. There is a fun bit where they ring a gong and the stick they use is a Havoc head. The gang gets caught and have to fight in the arena with Tanya. The only way out is some stairs going down. They see this but don't immediately rush to it. We gotta have at least 4 fights with each playable character. Once down the stairs we find out it's a maze, part of Havoc's plan. There's a bunch of traps down here, the gang splits up, Rain and Tanya get stuck in a loop of fighting until they kill their opponents. Rain doesn't want to kill them, but he's perfectly happy trapping them in a water tornado and letting them slowly drown. Tanya then decapitates them. How is this better than just killing them normally? Eventually they end up in a room where the walls are closing in. Their immediate reaction is to push the walls back and not try the door because they're fucking stupid. Sector then tries lockpicking the door to escape, whilst Rain is holding off the walls with his water. He's like, "Go, leave me Tanya, save yourself," but the door isn't even open yet. "Brother, just move closer to the door so you can escape as well when it opens." He doesn't and gets crushed by the walls, which felt very unnecessary. Tanya and Sector then run into a chained up dragon, which is the first time I remember seeing a dragon in the story, which is weird considering that's the logo. Tanya can speak to the dragon telepathically. She says, "I don't mean you harm." The dragon likes this so much he manages to send the whole gang out of the maze and into Havoc's base. Lucky we ran into him then and could speak his language. Havoc's base looks cool. It's a bunch of never ending pathways that loop back on themselves. The floor underneath them starts to give way and Cyrax pushes Scorpion to safety. Johnny starts to climb down to get to her. About halfway down, Scorpion uses his rope to rappel down past Johnny, which is just a dick move. When they are down there, Scorpion's like, "You saved my life." Like, that's dramatic, you would totally survive that fall. Then Sector is like, "I can fly down there like Iron Man and bring them up one at a time." So why the fuck did Scorpion and Johnny go down there if you can fly, Sector? I know this is so we can have Sector and Tanya fight on their own for a bit, but still. This is where Sub-Zero shows up. He has been turned into Noob Cybot. He's obsessed with chaos like Havoc. Sector tries to get through to him, but to no avail. Noob almost kills Scorpion, but is stopped by Tanya. So I guess Tanya is a better fighter than Noob Cybot. After he is defeated, Sector wants to take Noob to Liu Kang. so he can reverse what happened to him. Scorpion is not up for this. Sector can't believe he doesn't want to help him. Like what? Sub-Zero so far didn't save their dad, joined the bad guys, tried to frame him, killed him at his own wedding, and shows no remorse for any of his actions. And on his side, fuck Sub-Zero. The gang manages to find Geras, who transports them all back to their timeline. Liu Kang manages to reverse what happened to Sub-Zero, but only his mind. That was quick. Luckily, Liu Kang can do whatever the plot needs him now. Havik shows up outside to invade. After a few fights, Havik is close to finishing merging all the timelines. Liu Kang teams up with Noob to stop him. Havik does this thing where he rips off his own arms that create new clones of him. Very cool. Nobody tries to stop Havik whilst he is doing this. It cuts to Liu Kang and Noob just looking at him in bewilderment. Just 5 minutes before, Liu Kang took out a bunch of guys in seconds by lighting them all on fire. Why is he not doing this here? Liu Kang doesn't fight Havik. Noob does because he really wants to. Mostly because we are playing as him. Also because Havik was in Sub-Zero's mind to turn him into Noob. So he knows how Havik fights. Sure, just go with it. Noob manages to beat him by ripping off all his limbs. I don't know why they don't grow back like before. Noob wants to kill Havik. Liu Kang stops him because killing him may destroy Havik's timeline, killing lots of innocents. Noob disagrees. Sector grabs Noob's arm and is like, no, don't. But Noob starts swinging at Liu Kang. Geras manages to free Noob with his time powers. So because Sector tried to stop Noob and fought against Havik, she gets to go free and lead the Lin Kuei. Like what? You can't just let her go free. Noob is then kept in a coffin looking thing till they can figure out how to reverse what's happened to him. But he is still going to be a cunt when he gets reversed. He doesn't change or have any regrets during the story. So what was the point? There is no Sub-Zero in his timeline now. Kuai Liang takes over as Sub-Zero in the old timeline, but he's Scorpion in this one. So is little Hanzo Itachi going to become the new Sub-Zero? I don't know. It's going to be strange not having a Sub-Zero in an MK game. Scorpion then has a chat with Cyrax where he forgives her, which sure, I guess they bonded over the story. He also makes her Grandmaster. What the fuck? Does she really deserve to be a Grandmaster over, I don't know, smoke? Why is she getting promoted so highly so quickly? The DLC just ends there. As you can tell, I did not enjoy this DLC. It's all just felt pointless. What actually happened? Sub-Zero turned into Noob, which again happened in the old timeline. Then 2 women get promoted to Grandmaster, which they absolutely did not earn. Some action scenes were cool, the expansion is just ass, with defo skip. Visually the game is gorgeous, every environment is beautiful, crafted with lots of detail, character models look great with some impressive facial capture. The sound design is also spectacular, hits land with punchy and satisfying sound effects. Overall, I enjoyed most of my time with MK1. The core fighting of the game is fun and satisfying to play. The game looks gorgeous with top-notch graphics and sound. It's just the greed of Warner Bros. Letting the game down. The expansion is just overpriced and there's just not enough content here unless you want to play through the invasion every couple of months. Time to rank it. I'm feeling number 13. Vampire's Hunters had fun gameplay, but that was about it, so Mortal Kombat 1 is going above that. But I can't put it above Stellar Blade, which felt like a complete package overall. Good combat, good graphics, and the best part, cosmetics weren't locked behind a paywall. So yeah, Mortal Kombat 1 is our new number 13. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. It's my first time making a video this long, so hopefully you got some enjoyment from it.